There we go. Let's go dive right into it. RaZZoRMaN playing the orcs on the top right side of things. And we have his opponent in the bottom left playing the Night Elves, the man, the myth, the legend, FP. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. Hope you're enjoying these WarCraft 3 casts. If you want to see more, you can also catch me live on Twitch, of course. Twitch.tv/KendrickSwish. I do those casts every Friday, so you can interact with me there. You can spam some funny emojis. Or you can just wait on the YouTubes, of course. I'm going to upload most of those games, if not all of those games. So yeah, here we go. Back to the action, though. The Night Elf going in with an early Ancient of War, trying to go for a good old early creep with a treat. Now, I'm always excited when I see the Orc Night Elf matchup these days, because not only is the Pandaren Brewmaster officially back in action, you know, retiring from his own retirement, if you will, ever since the Alchemist was nerfed, and the Pandaren Brewmaster was buffed slightly with his burning damage on the Breath of Fire Drunken Haze combo. He's basically back in town, you know, and you always see him as a second hero these days. You very often see him as a second hero, but same goes for the first hero, you know. A lot of Night Elves not really trusting the good old Keeper anymore as much. He was nerfed several times. Hit pretty hard. But still, FP goes for it. No Demon Hunter, no Neutral First, no Warden, which you sometimes see, but against Orc, I guess not that much. Against Human, though, certain maps, that's totally viable, especially Echo Isles or Tarina Stand. Whew. The sheer thought of a level 6 Warden is giving me goosebumps right now. And then we've got, of course, the Farseer. You know, we've cast some replays today already. One of them being a Grubby versus FP. And, yeah, man, the Farseer first, it always looks nice on paper. It always sounds good, in my opinion. Like, there is a battle plan behind it, which is, of course, early Wolf Harass, early Wolf Creeping. Then, of course, the Chain Lightning later on, level 4, is a big power spike against archers in particular. But for some reason, the Farseer oftentimes doesn't cut it. You know, he falls off in the late game pretty hard. He's not that great when it comes to stealing XP, stealing items, you know, harassing in general. Can he turn the tide this time? That's going to be the big question, right? So let's see. Get some early creeping done, not really invading or anything, not really going after wisps, which is something you can do, which Grubby did actually in the previous game that we cast quite nicely. So you split off the wolves into 2 directions, and each wolf individually then chases down some wisps. And if the wisp detonates, that's still a win for you, because you basically offered 1 summonable unit for 1 worker, which is great. Alright, the Keeper still getting experience globally from his Treants and the Archers, dealing with the mercenary, with the creeps. And we have him marching, galloping over. Level 2, of course, great. Treants ready, Entangled ready, and he goes for the first grunt immediately. Goes for Treants as well, additional damage, although the Treants were cut a little bit and nerfed a little bit in the recent patch. They're still a force to be reckoned with. Nice micro as well. And the Murlocs too! The Murlocs are still joining the fray here. It's a 3-man FFA, if you will, free for all. And the Murlocs, they have this inbuilt, like the Nightcrawler has this inbuilt AI behavior that he wants to spread out the poison damage to as many enemies as possible. So no one is safe. Murlocs being fair creeps, attacking everyone. Okay, but no grunt is falling. That's actually amazing for RaZZoRMaN here. Really good stuff. So many times you see orcs losing. Oh my god, the last hit steal, yes! He can't get the item though. Oh, did he? Oh, I think he got it, right? No, I didn't see which item dropped, but he definitely got the experience, the Keeper, with that cheeky last hit. I don't think he got the item though. Super sick though. Like, whenever you get an item or an experience steal from someone who's creeping, that's a big win, especially when you have an early game level dependent hero such as the Keeper. Triggers the big golem. The golem always stuns the hero or target that attacks first. So that was a little bit of a mistake. Triggers more creeps even. And then TP's out. The Ogre actually running away, bloodlusting the trappers right now. And now we have a sandwich. A creep sandwich. There we go. And the Ogre actually maneuvered himself into a pretty bad position, because now there's only enough surface for 2 units to attack him, which makes him survive a little bit longer. Oh my goodness, that creep pull might have not been the best. And thus the Farseer finally gets that much desired creeping done. The Keeper, of course, had to drain all that mana and health regenerating force from the Moonwells. It's good in action. Tier 2 tech almost complete. Orc should be finished already. Actually, guys, that was a really late Orc tech. Going very heavy on the grunts. 3 burrows.
We're under attack.
So most Orcs definitely go for an earlier tech, but I think because of all that early game pressure, RaZZoRMaN is going for more grunts. So when you have this many grunts, you can expect some armor upgrades, perhaps, which would give the grunts very much value. So War Mill, I definitely expect to go down soon. And then you go for a 0-2 upgrade, and your grunts are going to be nigh unkillable if you have walkers at 2, right? So this could be an indicator for, well, no walkers this time, goes for a bestiary. Ozen doesn't go for a War Mill, so he just wants to have a nice, solid, massive tier 1 units here, the Orc, it seems. Speaking of grunts, 1 falls immediately. And although you have a lot of grunts, and although you have level 2 wolves, guess who's pretty good against all that? Huntresses, there we go. Oh my goodness, by the way, no Pandaren this time. FP gives us a flavor of the past. A callback, if you will, a flashback with the Alchemist here. Oh my goodness, it's a massacre. That was a nice deny, though, I think, on the grunt. Even has to use the TP here. That was one Naya's Day Creepjack coming in from FP, who smelled exactly where his opponent was. And we have double Bestiary. Okay, so this could be a crazy 180 transition into Wind Riders. But there's still no War Mill. I guess it's going to be Raiders then.
We're under attack.
Let's see. Yeah, Raiders it is. Okay. I mean, Raiders are always solid. You know, deal a little bit of bonus damage onto the Huntresses. Are also vulnerable, though. Like, Raiders and Huntresses counter each other, and usually the Huntresses win because they have better stats. Okay. So in that case, RaZZoRMaN going once again for the trusted double Bestiary Raider play.
Ready to ride.
And what is FP doing, by the way? No expansion, goes for a 1 base build. Something that we see a lot more Night Elves do these days. Goes for the upgrade, by the way. Nature's Blessing also affects the Treants. So they walk faster. They have a little bit more armor as well. We're going to see that pop up here in a bit. There we go. Now they have 5 armor. And that makes a big difference, ladies and gentlemen. 23 damage, percent damage reduction. It's pretty huge. And of course, the faster walking speed, also pretty nice. So yeah, it looks like FP is going for mass tier 1. We're used to seeing this kind of strategy, especially from Night Elves with double base, who then can spend so many resources into pumping out those units. But from 1 base, it's a little bit of a risk sometimes. Actually, we have a cheeky lore. Almost forgot to mention that, so we see some Dryads in the mix now. So this is a pretty fast, pretty kitey army, I would say. Not the hardest hitting one, because no bears, for example. But very hard to catch. That's why he has the Raiders for. That's what he's got the Raiders for. Catching some of those units with nets, with ensnares. Also, RaZZoRMaN is going for... I was going to say, okay, so he's creeping here. Now he's finishing the Ogre camp. Let's take a look at some of the items here. Greater healing. Scourge Bone Chimes. That's a nasty one for all the all the Orcs players out there. What the Mana Aura is for the Undead is the Scourge Bone Chimes for the Orc. 20% healing. Beautiful. And finally the War Mill goes down as well. I think it might already be too late, though, to go into heavy upgrades. Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a big fight happening before those armor upgrades kick in. What does the Night Elf hero have here? Staff of Preservation, of course. Some claws here. Ooh, the Mana Stone. Oof. That's a good one, too. If only he had gone for a Pandaren Brewmaster, that item would have probably gotten him more value in that one even more. But hey, I guess no hero really complains about mana regen. So the Alchemist, by the way, what is his build? Okay, Healing Spray level 2. For those of you who are wondering, like, I've got a second monitor over here, and I basically have my UI on there as well. So if I want to take a good look into the hero builds, I'm actually going to have to lean over a little bit because the icons are so small on my OBS. And I'm an old man, you know, getting old. Got some gray hair on the sides. But anyways, we see the Knolls now being crafted by RaZZoRMaN. Man, I really want to see how much that vampiric aura is going to kick in at some point. He's only got melee units so far as well. No Wind Riders. The Kodo coming into the fray now as well, but no Wind Riders, no casters, nothing basically. No armor upgrades in tech. So he just built the War Mill for additional lumber. Or faster lumber, I should say. Alright, and the Orc is moving out. Did he research pillage, though? I'm not sure. Let's see.
Our town is under
Let's see if he
attack.
gets money from attacking buildings. No. No pillage. Which is very nice to go for, actually, if you have Raiders, Grunts only, because those units benefit off it. Kills one Moonwell, is going to lose a Grunt here. Speed scroll out to safety. Peace, yo! Don't want to fight into those Night Elf units with so many trees in the mix, too. So he didn't really use that distraction, though, to go for an expansion. Wait a minute. Goes for a Demolisher against the Dryads. Okay, siege damage, of course, long distance, nice. But we're normally used to seeing these types of siege units from human players when they go mortar teams, for example. Every now and then you will see an undead throw in a meat wagon in the mix, but meat wagons are pretty meh. Okay, Demolishers, here we go. Of course, Demolishers can be dodged quite easily. And Dryads are very fast, so micro is going to be of the essence. If the Dryads can hoppity-hop to safety with every Demolisher shot missing, that unit is basically worthless. But if the Night Elf is busy occupied elsewhere, you know, controlling heroes, for example, microing the hunts, oh my goodness, and you can see how much damage the Demolisher has got going on here. Chain Lightning crackling through, but here comes the Healing Spray, affecting multiple units at the same time. The Alchemist, although he was nerfed several times, still gotta respect that hero. Very, very strong potentially. Huntresses are falling. Here goes the Roar. Scroll of the Beast, Scroll of Protection. That Night Elf army is boosted and jacked up to the max here. Healing Spray, nice. Of course, the Alchemist was nerfed, so he can't spam that anymore without a cooldown. And look at all those treants, the man. Also, of course, holding the front line quite nicely. Can the Vampiric Aura hold the ground for the Orc player? Demolishes, quite literally, another Dryad, just like that in the blink of an eye. But I think the Orc player is running out of units now. Look at all these juicy Dryads still dealing damage. The Huntress is also demolishing the Raiders pretty hard. Kodo comes out, eats a Huntress. Can it be maneuvered to safety? I mean, I guess it can absorb a little bit of damage immediately. So there we go. Now with a second Demolisher out on the field, that's going to look a little bit dangerous all of a sudden for FP, who needs to be paying very close attention to his units. And it looks like the strategy is actually working right now. RaZZoRMaN holding units in place thanks to the Ensnare, only to focus them down with Demolishers then. But the heroes completely untouched for the Night Elf. Level 4 Alchemist. That means level 2 Healing Spray. I think he had that before anyway, so that's good. But yeah, as many units have fallen for the Night Elf, so the same is true for the Orc. You know. I mean, that was basically a bloodbath. I'm not sure what these Wisps are doing, just looking good. Draining a little bit of mana here for good measure. Forces the Orc to buy some Clarity Pots. But yeah, that was an absolute bloodbath, ladies and gentlemen. The Night Elf down to heroes only. Only now rebuild a couple of units in his base. And the Orc basically down to a few Raiders and the Demolishers. But I like the approach coming in from RaZZoRMaN here. Once again, ensnaring units, which are all unarmored, which all take bonus damage from the Demolishers, and then focusing them down with those mighty ranged units, siege units, in the back. How much can the heroes do, though, for FP to hold him in this game? Invo on the Alchemist, always nice.
We're under attack!
Now, both players have to lick their wounds a little bit here. They took a lot of crippling damage in terms of army supply.
Ready to ride!
More Raiders coming in. Does he need more than 2 Demolishers? I don't think so. 2 should be enough. 3 might be overkill. Now, I love what RaZZoRMaN is doing here as well. He's pulling off some peons. So the peons are working as a mobile, you know, repairing unit for those Demolishers. Kind of nice. And when they're not busy repairing, you can also use peons to hold the front line a little bit more. You know, absorb some damage. Especially with walkers, spirit walkers, you can have that quite nicely. Because you don't really care if peons die. I mean, peons have lives too. They've got families too and feelings, but
Ready to ride!
unfortunately, we don't really care about them too much. Alright. More hunts. More Dryads. Looks like FP is committed to this path. Looks like he thinks that he can punch his way through with enough treants, with enough healing provided by the Alchemist. Yeah, both players a little bit stubborn, but I can't blame them, you know. Especially RaZZoRMaN looked really strong in that last fight, so I can't blame him for just building a little bit more. The question is, shouldn't he rebuild a couple of grunts at least because they're a little bit more tanky than raiders? I guess if you have a critical mass of raiders, you don't really care about that too much. Let's see, a little bit of scouting happening here. Finds the peon. I mean, orc expansions are really hard to make work. Especially if you're not tier 3 and you don't have tiny great halls. It takes forever to finish it. And so many times do we see keepers just interrupting them over and over again with enough treants. Alright, this could be the showdown, guys. This could be a big fight here between the two. We actually have a pretty good location, fighting location for the orc here, holding some of those Night Elf units in place, but look at the micro by FP, trying to dive deep onto those Demolishers because he realizes, you know what, those Raiders don't do nothing, we don't care about anything else but the Demolishers because those things can ruin our day because our army is 100% unarmored. We have a two-pronged battle here, by the way, some units chasing the last Demolisher, the other half of the army keeping the orc busy. So the Alchemist is a little bit abandoned all by himself, trying to get some of those units healed up and patched up. And now, I like FP because he was the one to pull the trigger first, reunite his army, now trying to fight, and that's the downside of Raiders. Even if you get us around, their damage against heroes is pretty weak, but enough actually to force the Night Elf to retreat once again. Nice TP here by the Alchemist. That Demolisher shot not landing on anything. So, in terms of army supply, let's actually double check. 48 for the Orc, 44 for the Night Elf. Once again, a rather even exchange. So, when you have these constant headbutts into one another, where army supply is relatively even, no player really gets a massive advantage, you gotta take a look at the heroes. And then you gotta say, which hero combo benefits of experience in late game more? And at this point, I'm leaning a little bit towards the Orc, honestly. Because if that Shadow Hunter reaches level 5, level 6, I mean, the Hex and the Healing Wave could be so huge. It could be so huge. While the Farseer falls off, the Shadow Hunter gains power. Same can be said about the Night Elf army. While the Alchemist becomes stronger, the Keeper normally falls off. Until he kind of re-dives to the surface with level 6. But level 5, usually not his strongest level. Level 4. So yeah, it's going to be a showdown here, I think, between the Alchemist and the Shadow Hunter in the very, very late game. Let's see if we even get there, though. Level 3 Wolves, though, nothing to be sneezed at. I'm sorry I talked down on you, Mr. Farseer, but those level 3 Wolves, holy moly. Holy moly! Evaporating some of those Dryads, which basically should be maneuvered into dispelling those Wolves. Dryads are actually a great counter against the Farseer because of that. But level 3 Wolves are quite tanky, 500 HP each. Takes several dispels to get rid of them. And now the Orc with a lot of momentum. Look at those shots. Hailing, raining down from the skies. And combined with Demolisher damage and Raider damage, that is a lot of damage into those Hunters. But the sheer mass of units, and some healing scrolls as well, is swing the tide of battle into the Night Elf's favor. Beautiful Cloak of Shadows, by the way. Hello! Daytime can now be cloaked. That was a recent change. You could use those Demolishers to target fire, though. We saw that in one of the earlier preview games that we casted. But now, with that cloaking action, I think FP might have done it. I think he may have broken the Orc. Alright. Demolishers, while they are strong, while they are dangerous, they are not fast. And they're going to be hunted down quite literally by those Huntresses. More peons to the rescue, though. Repairing. Go, go, go. Speed scroll. Let's go. Here we go. A nice last-man effort here from RaZZoRMaN, whose Shadow Hunter is also very low. Needs to consume some items here, perhaps. Clarity won't cut it. He needs some good burst healing. Okay, Demolisher's in a relatively okay position now because there's so many peons out in the open, though. That means there's no burrows currently filled. 1 Huntress. 2 Huntresses are falling. The Dryad also in a lot of a pickle, in a big pickle, actually. This repair is pretty sick. The Huntresses can't cut it. Farseer still looking good, but here comes a healing spray. Almost all the heroes completely out of mana. Oh, that's a big surround. That's a big ooh. With enough melee damage, normal damage from the Treants, and the armor reduction from the Alchemist, I guess. That Shadow Hunter is going to have to say, maneuver him! He's invulnerable! Bring him back to safety, man! Nice. Really good micro from RaZZoRMaN. The Demolishers are still standing strong, but as we said earlier, man, the heroes need to turn this tide for the Night Elf. He's literally down to only 2 hunts. Level 5 Alchemist, here we go. Is that heal spray or is that the bomb? Nothing decided yet. He's probably busy doing something else. Busy killing that Shadow Hunter. Make him taste the potion. Out of range. Don't dive too deep here. Alright, I think the Night Elf is turning this around. Although, here come a new set of wolves. And these wolves can be huge. Level 5 Shadow Hunter. This is a fight fought until the absolute end here. Nails, teeth, and claw. Everything is being used here. Neither of the players willing to let go. Both are refusing to let go. No expansion built up in the meantime, although there's a peon over here.
Our gold mine has collapsed.
Yep, gold mines are collapsing. The gold mines. The Night Elven base has already been dry, so he has a Tree of Ages. Could walk over here. That's the innate, natural advantage of all Night Elves. That they basically have another mine. It just takes a little bit longer. And the Orc, how much money does he have left? Nothing. As you can see, the last amount of gold is being used to repair those Demolishers. So there's a timer now on the Orc. It's a ticking time bomb, that game. He needs to make an attack and try to go for an all-in.
Hey,
FP realizes that he's checking the natural expansion spot immediately, sees the peons, and he must be like, yep, that's a desperate move right there, my friend. Seeing that peon line means you have no expansion and no gold left. So I can take a chill pill, and as long as I keep my units safe, as long as I keep my Tree of Ages safe, I'm going to out-mine you at some point. And that's why I want to see RaZZoRMaN move out and try his luck. Level 5, so close to level 6. The Farseer, Earthquake level 6, not really good, not really strong. It's probably going for level 3 Chain Lightning. But then again, in a situation where you need to siege up and win a game fast, Earthquake might actually be the way to go because it is a great sieging tool. He's going for creeping. He wants additional gold from creeps and good items too. He's trying to go for the longer game. He's not pulling the trigger. He's actually saying, you know what? Long distance mining and the extra gold from the creeps, we're going to build that base up at some point.
We're under attack.
All right. He has to be very careful. One creep check here, I think, at this point, and it could be GG. Because he can't rebuild units right now. If the Keeper were to scout this, drop some entangles on them, that would be huge. But of course, if you're FP, then you also need to have vision. You need to send out those treants. And you basically need to make sure that your base survives. This entangled gold mine needs to go through. Back to the creeping. What item? Oh my goodness, it's the Khadgar's Pipe. Mana regeneration is huge on 2 heroes that have so many spells to use. Blade Master, for example, is not really that dependent on it. But the Farseer and the Shadow Hunter definitely are. Okay, this is huge. But now, he didn't get creep checked when the creeps were still alive. But he's getting creep checked right now. He has the high ground, so the Demolishers are kind of out of range here as well, out of sight. But he's not even trying to go for the Demolishers FP. He's trying to go for the units. He's dispelling the wolves like a champ. Good experience. Good damage reduction. And speaking of dispel, there is no dispel. Absolutely no dispel on the side of the Orc. He can't do anything about the Treants. No Spirit Walkers, no Shamans, nothing. Level 6 Farseer. Did he go for Earthquake? No. Level 3 Chain Lightning. That's what he needs. Demolishers, bye-bye. It was a good time we had you. And I think the Orc army is collapsing now. Without the backbone. Yeah, he can't let those die just like that. He can't let him die just like that. And the Treants, so much armor, so much damage. It's basically a second army the Night Elf players has here. The Keeper is going to seal the deal, right? Out of mana, no entangle. But yeah, he's got the base running. He's got the economy recovering. He can build units now. The Orc can't. This is over. Don't want to be a party pooper here, but I think even if the Night Elf loses a couple of units here, that game won't be salvageable for RaZZoRMaN anymore. Long distance mining, 130 only. can't reproduce.
We're under attack.
Like, if FP wants to play this super sneaky and super safe, he's just killing the peons here. But I think at this point he doesn't even... Oh, man, the cloaks. So huge in that game. Blocks the Shadow Hunter. Can't move him to distance, to safe distance anymore. Here comes the Poison Blast. And the minus armor. So much damage now. The Keeper says hello again. And that's it. Level 5 Shadow Hunter is no more. Down he goes. Level 6 Keeper. And that's the GG. RaZZoRMaN taps out after a heated battle. After a tight game. He says, I can't do this anymore.
Ah, the great outdoors.
And in the end, the Trio of Ages made all the difference. What also almost made the difference were the Demolishers. I like the approach. Ensnaring units, especially when they're unarmored, only to focus them down. With Peons and Tau, you could actually save those Demolishers quite nicely. So kudos to RaZZoRMaN for that style. I like it. The question is, was the Farseer the right choice for that style? Could a Blade Master have done more? Hard to say. The Blade Master has stronger early game harass, but is not really a frontliner. The Wolves provide additional frontlining. The Chain Lightning is great. Not against Huntresses and Dryads, though. So I think FP also really built a team or unit composition that was well designed against that. And although he was countered in terms of damage type so hard, he had good micro. He used the fast speed of the units to get on top of the Demolishers there. And most importantly, some sick cloak action on the Keeper. So you get my seal of approval here. Good job. And that was a fun game to watch. Great stuff.